Hello, 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 and welcome to Unleashing the Power Women Voices event. My name is Rhonda Jan, and I'll be your host alongside my lovely Abigail. Hi, Abigail. How are you?
Hi, Ramanda. It's like deja vu from earlier on. I'm good, and I'm really, really excited about the lineup that we have of our fabulous speakers today.
Oh, we had so much fun this morning hosting this event. Some of you might be wondering, like, why do we have two of these events? Well, one of the reasons is because we have speakers joining us from all around the world. And this morning we had ladies from Turkey, we had a lady in India, in Australia, in the United States, waking up super early. Hungary, I believe, the UK. So we had our speakers from all around the world. And today we have a lineup of another 10 amazing speakers who have been selected to be speakers at the Women Thrive Summit. And today is your opportunity to get to know our wonderful speakers. They are inspirational, motivational, and incredibly experienced women in business and life as well, going through their own challenges. Today, they're going to share a little bit about their stories, about area of expertise where they specialize in. I hope that it will be inspirational. What do you think we should expect, Abigail, today?
Well, it's always inspirational, so we definitely should expect inspiration for sure. This morning's theme, or our showcase earlier on, was very much around really listening to our body and feeling in, like health and wellness and spiritual practices, and doing the blocks that stop us from moving forward. I know that some of our speakers that we have on just now will be talking about similar things, but bringing their area of expertise on. But this is a really lovely supportive community, and I think what you can expect is lots of support, any questions to be answered, and definitely inspiration from our speakers today.
Yeah, well, pardon me, I did make a mistake. We have 11 speakers today.
Oh, we've got one more. Amazing.
Well, we usually have 11, but sometimes I say 10 because sometimes we don't have a full lineup. But today we truly do have a full lineup.
We've got a full house. We really have got a full house. So this is really exciting.
Yeah. Well, as you're tuning in, I want to say hello and welcome. Make sure you leave a comment below. Let us know where in the world you're watching us from. We're streaming to various platforms. And for those watching us or also hosting here on StreamYard, you can restream it to your own platforms. We host this event once a month on the third Thursday of every month. And on the first Thursday of every month, we have our networking online event. Now, as we mentioned, we're leading towards the Women Thrive Summit, which is our annual women empowerment event. So this is probably one of the biggest online events of the year. And we invite you to join us. You can grab yourself a seat and look at the lineup of incredible speakers we already have for this event. Head over to womenthrivesummit.com and click join, and you'll be taken to our platform where all of our speakers and all the talks are listed. Now, we have more than 50 amazing speakers, and you get to choose. You can attend all of them, you can attend some of them. They're all live, and they all have incredible stories to share, as well as very powerful talks. So tickets are free. What are you waiting for? Oh, Abigail, thank you for being my co-host. It's so nice to have you just on this journey with, with all of our amazing women.
It's so much fun doing things together, isn't it? I love to I don't know. I'm like I've had enough of doing things on my own. I love to collaborate. I love to partner up. And thank you for inviting me, Ramonda. I feel very privileged that I am able to come and play a role within the Women Thrive community, support our wonderful speakers, co-host the Women Thrive podcast, co-host these events that take place every month. And of course, I'm really, really looking forward to co-hosting the summit with you as well. And it's nice because it takes some pressure off you. I know you can do all the things, but it's really good to be able to support you in that way. And we had so much fun last year. I am really, really looking forward to this year.
I must say, even when you're hosting the sessions, I still want to be on them.
I know.
Unless I absolutely can't, looking after my daughter or anything like that. But I try to look at watch all of the talks. So we stream live, like live, as in you get to interact with our speakers for 12 hours each day, I think. It sounds insane, but energy is so electric, so empowering. We have women who wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, United States, to start out the day with us, and they literally stay throughout the entire day because it's just that magical and powerful. This is going to be our second year, Abigail, with us hosting it. What sets apart the Women Thrive Summit apart from others?
Well, one of the things that I was sharing earlier on, actually, on our first showcase, is that it's very difficult sometimes to capture the energy of an in-person event. And we all love in-person events, right? It's nice to connect with people and to hug and to do all the things. But actually, the Women Thrive Summit is really the only in-person event that I've ever taken a part of, actually, that really feels that energy, like feels alive. One of the things I was talking about today is that we've been discussing with our speakers, like, what's your song going to be? Before we bring a speaker on stage, we play the song and we had the video, and everyone's like, we see everyone on camera, like, so you don't have to have your camera on, of course you don't, but it's really, really nice to see your faces. We love to see you, and our speakers love to see you as well. So we're like, the speakers are ready to come on, and everyone's like up and dancing around the living room and their bedroom and their kitchen, and the children are there dancing around. And it's just got such a contagious energy. It really feels like an in-person event. So I think definitely that's one thing that stands it apart. And the other thing, of course, is the speakers, not just the caliber of the speakers, but the energy of the speakers. The fact that they've been on this wonderful journey together, many of them for nearly a year, meeting up every week, meeting up in smaller groups, meeting up in biggest groups, maybe coming to our in-person events, and really supporting one another and cheering one another on. And they bring that energy onto the summit. So it really feels like one big party, a really informative, super mastermind, and just a wonderful sisterhood where everyone's coming together and supporting one another.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the reasons why the energy is so magical is because we spend almost an entire year preparing for this event. And behind the scenes, we have weekly calls with our speakers where we collaborate, we grow together. We prepare our talks, prepare ourselves. Something that was shared yesterday, that we all need people in our lives who hold us to higher standards. And sometimes when needed, they give you some tough love, a little kick up the butt. So, and it was interesting because the ladies shared and we had a laugh that not only in this community we hold each other to a higher standard, we see the potential in each other, but also give that tough love. And sometimes we all need that. Not only we need people in our lives who see the potential in us, but somebody who's willing to be honest and truthful and call us out at times, or just give us that tough love. And that's where growth happens. And I know 100% during the summit, you will get inspiration, but you may get some tough love. You may be called out, and you will be shown the potential, the opportunities that you have. And this is the difference that we have within our community, that the values in which we foster our speakers in our community is what trickles down to our audience who join this event year and year after. That's it from us as a co-host. It's time to say showtime and bring on our speakers. Abigail, over to you to introduce our first speaker.
Wonderful. We are very, very excited to have some wonderful speakers today, and I really want to encourage all of you to support, comment, like, love, show us your love in the chat. Let us know that you're ready for our speakers to come on while I invite on our first speaker to our stage. Her name is 𝐤𝐨𝐬𝐿. She is a dedicated angel therapy practitioner with an unwavering passion for helping individuals connect with the angelic realm to unlock daily guidance from the angels in their lives. With a deep-rooted love for working with people, 𝐤𝐿 is on a mission to assist them in discovering their true gifts and purpose in life. Welcome, 𝐤𝐿. It's so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We just love your topic, what you speak about. I really, really enjoyed our podcast that we recorded together just recently for the Women Thrive Summit. We're really looking forward to seeing your talk on the Women Thrive stage in March, and I can't wait to hear you today. So please take the stage.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for joining me today. Connection. So connection is one of the most sacred and essential experiences that we crave as human beings. It's in our nature to seek meaningful ties with others, Mother Earth, to divine. These are all key elements that are not only encompass who we are, but nurture and support us on our journeys here on Earth. Yet one connection that many of us neglect or may put last on the list is the connection with ourselves. That true, authentic connection of who we are, why we are here, and what we have to share with the world. And as women, many of us often put everything else first, and we sacrifice ourselves in doing so. So how many of you are wives or have been wives, mothers, friends, sisters, colleagues, and supports for others, only to one day wake up and realize that you're not happy and you don't know who you are anymore? You don't recognize the person looking back at you in the mirror, and you're thinking, who are you and what am I doing here? You know, and you have a sense that you want more and you want it now. And you would like to go and find that again. You would like to find yourself again, but you're a bit of a loss as to where to start. So this is when I invite you to go within, because you really haven't gone anywhere. You've just lost that connection with yourself. So let's simply start by placing our hands on our hearts. And I invite you to do this now. Gently closing your eyes and taking a nice deep breath. Just feel into your body and notice your heart beating beneath your hand. Feel its rhythm, its warmth, its constant support and functioning, no matter what it is that you are doing. Just drop in here and breathe deeply once more and really feel into this space. This is the gateway. This is the space and place where it all begins, the journey back to yourself, the door to yourself, the rediscovery of who you are and who you're meant to be. Let's just stay here with our hands on our hearts for just a moment more. And just quietly ask yourself, who am I? Who am I meant to be? And let that door open. When you drop into your heart and get out of your head, you step out of the ego mind and you come into the present moment. You pause and you notice the beats between the silence, the subtleties between the breaths, and the possibilities anew. This is the seat of your divine feminine, the gateway to your intuition, the angels, your divine connection and knowing, and the pathway to reconnecting with your innate spiritual gifts. Because we all have these gifts. Our deep inner selves know them, but our conscious minds may have forgotten. Now, a lot of people ask me how I started on my angelic path, and I always describe it as a natural unfolding of events. There was no big monumental occurrence, no major aha moment, or some divine being showing up and telling me so. Not that these things don't happen, but for the majority of us, it is simply a natural unfolding. It is a series of steps that lead us to where we are, but we may not realize we're on that path, or we may not have been listening. When you drop into your heart and you listen each day, you can discern what your steps are and what is meant to be. When you are heart-led, things become easier, more flowing, and each step becomes more easily discernible. You even experience the side benefits of becoming more in tune to your intuition, to the divine, your angels and spirit guides, because in working through the heart, you inadvertently raise your own personal vibration and you become more open to receiving. And then things just become easier. Guidance comes to you more quickly and more clearly. Your confidence increases. Your whole aura shifts, and the true, brilliant, authentic you reemerges, resurfaces, and shows up unabashedly. So start today and take a few moments throughout your day, each day, to pause and drop into your heart and watch the magic happen.
Kaylin, thank you for opening up our session so beautifully and taking us through that beautiful practice. I was having a conversation with someone today about how easy it is to be addicted to busyness, like to be addicted to work, and to be busy. And you're right, when you create these spaces, you can really allow space for things to flow in. And you were talking there about raising your, being able to raise your vibration so that you can attract all the things in. I really love your work. I'd love to know, like, how do you work with your clients? Do you do one-on-one? Do you do group programs? Like, how do your clients work with you?
I work mostly one-on-one. I do offer group programs, classes, and workshops as well, but my passion and my love is definitely working with someone one-on-one, because I love to guide them through their journey and watch the transformation of how they bloom and blossom and grow and shift from where they began to, where they end up. And I love playing a part in someone's life where they just step into their spiritual gifts, step into their power, and understand that connection with the angelic realm, and just realize and recognize not only how easy it is to connect with them and bring them into your daily life, but to bring them into your daily life. So one-on-one is my jam. That's where I thrive. That's where I love. I also love connecting with people in general. So just creating that deeper connection in that way is a beautiful experience.
Yeah. Well, we've got lots of lovely comments, and one of the comments from Cassandra, one of our fellow speakers, is one-on-one is magic, and it really is.
Yes.
I remember our conversation on the podcast very clearly. So many takeaways there about the angels, and so many insights, and it's just so beautiful to know that we're held in that way. Kaylin, if someone wants to find you, like where do you hang out? What's your website? What's your social media handles? How do they find you?
Yes, they can find me on Instagram. It's just at @𝐸_. You can also find me on Facebook under the same name. And then my website is yourinnerlight.ca. Facebook and Instagram are where things are most current and most in real time. So that's the best place to start. Though the website, though in need of a little bit of a polish and upgrade to modern times, does provide you with information on the different services and programs as well that I offer.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kaylin. Thank you so much for opening us up today in
You're
more ways
welcome.
than one, opening our hearts and opening the stage. Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that lovely practice today with Kaylin. This is how we roll. This is how we're starting. So many amazing speakers waiting backstage to share their knowledge and their insights with you, and a very diverse community. We have speakers from all around the world, lots of different backgrounds, lots of different genres, and lots of gifts to share with you today. So without further ado, I'm going to invite our second speaker onto the stage. Her name is Devin Sarno. She is a US national champion public speaking coach, performer, and founder of Parlay Communicators. With over 15 years of experience, she blends her love for live performance, improv, and comedy to help others find their unique voice. Devon's engaging, passionate, and compassionate coaching style empowers individuals to express themselves confidently and authentically. Devon, welcome to the stage. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm once again coming to all of you from the school that I teach at. So we just wrapped up class so I could jump on. So I actually have a couple of my students back here.
Oh, hi.
Yep, that we're going to listen as I talk because I make them do this every day. So I figured that I should probably get on here and do it as well.
Amazing. I love like the live in-person training that you're doing with your students. That is amazing. Well, Devon, please take the stage.
Of course. So the relevancy of coming to you from this school today is important to what I want to talk about. You know, as each month comes up and I think about what I want to share and what matters to me in that moment as something that is worth having a conversation about. A variety of different things play into that decision-making process. But yesterday's events, two things in particular, really stood out to me as a way that we can open up the conversation about learning how effectively using our voice in education, post-education, as adults, really can change our world. So yesterday, I was at school about 15 minutes after the school day ended. We were put on an official lockdown. What that means is I am in my classroom and a voice comes over the speakers telling us that they are from the DPS, which is the Denver Police Services, and that we have to go into a lockdown. I walked out into the hall and I saw 3 of my students that had not left the building yet because they were going to engage in after school activities. And I pulled them into my classroom and I shut the door and locked it and turned off the lights. And we all moved to a position where no one could see us. At the same time, one of my co-teachers was upstairs in the library at a professional development event that I didn't have to attend. That meant at that moment that roughly 70 to 80% of our faculty was gathered in the library. The emotional toll that took on me, knowing that they were basically fish in a barrel if we were actually in a dramatic event like a shooting. I also battled with the idea that our classroom is 30 feet, give or take, from the exit to the building. And should I, in that moment, hearing that emergency notification go off, but not hearing gunshots, should I have sent those kids right outside of the building? Because that would have been the safest option, is to get them as far away from here as possible. So I share that because that is the emotional burden I'm going through as a teacher when that comes on. Should I try to get them out of the building because I have that access to an exit? Should I follow the protocols that have been put in place? All the while, I'm thinking about all of my friends who are upstairs in the library with no protection on the second floor. Luckily, it ended roughly 5 to 8 minutes later, and we were released. And it was only about 2 hours later that we found out that it was not an shooting event, but that there was an altercation in our school's food pantry and that they put us on lockdown while they dealt with that. But in the moment, we didn't know. Why this is especially relevant is because yesterday, the White House's Office of Gun Violence Prevention's website was taken offline. Now, there are a lot of reasons why this may be happening, but what it signals is that there is a difference in priority circling gun violence with the new administration. And as a teacher who sat in a live lockdown drill yesterday and had to see that that website was taken down on the same day, I feel vulnerable. I feel that my needs are not prioritized and that my students are at continued risk. I actually have a former student who worked in that office. She was on staff with the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. I had firsthand knowledge of what they were doing to actively reduce gun violence in our country, because that is what we're talking about here. We aren't talking about removing all guns. We aren't talking about taking away people's Second Amendment rights. The office was about preventing gun violence. And that's what school shootings are. So it reaffirms my desire to be here in this school and be doing my business to help people communicate. Because I think so often, no matter what side of what issue you're on, because this isn't about right or left or politics or this or that, this is about the idea that most people think the reason their ideas aren't being put into practice is because they're not being loud enough, that they're not being heard. But that's not it. It's about the fact that they're not understanding what the other side goes through, what the other side feels, what the other side experiences, in order to make their arguments stronger. It's also about listening and finding that common ground and that commonalities between us so that we can come from a place of understanding with each other and not polar opposite. So I am reaffirming the idea that people need to learn how to communicate and that anxiety shouldn't be stopping you because you have things you care about. I have things we care about. My students have things we care about. And we need to be able to use our voices to make sure that they're not only heard, but understood.
Bravo, Devon.
Thank you.
I love that you're standing for this. I love that you're speaking for this. I love that you are there in your classroom with your students and they are witnessing this. I have got no idea, being from the UK, what that must feel like. I have no idea what that must feel like to be at risk of that every single day. We don't experience things like this in the UK, and I hope that we never do.
I hope so too.
I just love that you have shared that and so passionately, and as I said before, really serve as an example for your students. And yes, communication is key, and speaking our truth and standing up, however scary and controversial it might seem,
exactly,
is the reason that we have created this platform for amazing women like you to speak
to be
the truth.
Unapologetic.
Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that with us today, Devon. Thank you so much.
Happy to do so. Yes.
Devon, I love your work. I love that you really combine like your amazing background, like stage and improv and comedy, with speaking. For anyone who wants to find out more about you, follow you, stand with you, where can they find you?
Well, first, if you would like to explore either standing in your own voice personally, or you want to bring this to your employees or a group of people, check out my website, parlaycommunicators.com. There's lots of information there about me as a speaker to come into organizations, or me as a coach to help each and every person out there find the power in their voice and learn how to use it as effectively as possible, no matter if you have anxiety around it or not. I'm also on LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm no longer on TikTok. I kind of stepped away from that, but you can also find me on Facebook. So whatever social media platform you use at this point, come on and find me.
Thanks, Devon. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing that today.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to hear what everybody else has to talk about.
Thank you. Never be afraid to stand up for yourself and your values and what you believe in. And if you feel fear and anxiety and resistance around it, even more important to stand in your power And that's what we really stand for here at Women Thrive. And it was wonderful to hear Devon sharing her truth today. So we are going to be moving on to our next amazing speaker. I'm very excited because I'm going to be meeting her in person very soon. So I would love to welcome onto the stage Amy Sanders. She is a master certified life coach, entrepreneur, and women's empowerment advocate. She has over 20 years of experience, and she helps women break free from limiting beliefs, heal from trauma, and create thriving lives and businesses. She is a self-made millionaire, and she has built multiple successful ventures and now uses her awareness, alignment, abundance methodology to empower women to turn their passion into purpose and abundance. Amy, welcome to the stage.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to see you and to hang out with you next week. We will talk about that a little bit and a little bit further on.
But they're like real hugs.
I know, right? Isn't it amazing how we can build these connections and relationships online? And it just seems crazy that we haven't even met in person. Just the power of that. I'm really excited to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise. So thank you so much. As far as what I want to speak on today, I have some notes because I want to follow them the way that I want it to be perceived. I am not someone like the previous speaker that just can fly the way she can. She's so eloquent with her words, but I wanted to take you guys through more of an experience. And so the first thing I want you to do is take a really deep breath. I want you to breathe all the way in. And I want you to breathe all the way out. And I want you to do that again. And now I want you to close your eyes and I want you to see yourself as a little girl. Imagine yourself. What age are you? What are the things that you love to do as this little girl? And what was it that lit up your soul? Who did you admire? What are the things that made you happy? Were you a happy little girl? I want you to imagine, who were you before the world told you who you should be? Now I want you to fast forward just a little bit and I want you to see yourself as a teenager. How have you changed? What parts of yourself did you learn to hide, if there were any? Did you feel like you belonged, or did you shapeshift to fit in? Did you silence your voice just to be accepted? And now I want you to fast forward a little bit more into today's world. So in today's world, who are you now? Are you living that life that you dreamed of as a little girl? Or do you feel somewhere stuck? There's frustration and like there's something missing. And do you still do the things, which this is really important, do you still do the things that lit your soul up on fire when you were younger? They could be slightly different because of course we're different ages, but do you still do the things that light your soul on fire? So as humans, we tend to take on the beliefs, the traditions, the cultures that our family, that our families, friends, culture, society tells us to be, right? And we mold ourselves into what's expected, and we live within those limits that were never really ours to begin with. And as women, especially, I think men do a much better job at not doing this than us, but we shrink ourselves to fit into the roles that people have placed on us. And we forget that we were born worthy. We forget that we were born powerful just as we were, whole just as we were, that we were queens from the very beginning. And we try to fit into this mold that was never really made for us. And we feel disconnected and we feel like something is off, like we're living this life that really isn't truly ours. And this disconnection can show up in the stories that we tell ourselves, which are, I'm not enough, that no one's going to listen to me. I'm not worthy of making more money, or I'm not as good of a mom as she is. All of these things that we're telling ourselves are not our truths. They're not your truth. These are borrowed beliefs. And I know this because this is how I lived. I grew up in a family where speaking up really was not welcomed. And I was told that I was too much. I was told that I was too loud. I was shushed all the time. I was told I was too opinionated. And so I learned to stay quiet because that's what made me feel more safe, was staying quiet, to not take up any space, to self-betray just to be accepted. And I silenced my intuition so much that I married a guy that I knew that I should not marry after having dated only 3 weeks. I did that because rejecting him or saying no to him was more scary than just self-betraying. But what that led to was years of an unhealthy marriage. It led to lots of heartbreak and eventually me becoming a broke single mom where I hit rock bottom. And that is where I woke up. And I realized that I was living this life that was sculpted by everyone else's expectations and not my own truth. And once I started to trust myself again and started going through all the work, my life unfolded into this dream life that I did envision as a little girl. And so what I'm here to teach you is how to break free. And that's what I teach in the AAA method, which I call it the AAA method, which is all about awareness, abundance, and alignment. So awareness is all about waking up to the truth. Like, what is true for you? Who were you when you were younger and who are you today? Is there a disconnect? Seeing the patterns and the beliefs and the conditioning that has been placed on you that have shaped you into living this life that isn't truly yours, and recognizing where you're out of alignment and connecting and reconnecting to your soul, choosing a different path. Alignment, I said reconnecting. Alignment is where you're reconnecting. And I like to think of it as a Wi-Fi signal. The stronger our alignment is with our soul, the faster we're going to get to the things and the faster we're going to attract things that we want in our life. And these things could be material things, or they could be relationships. Whatever it is in your life that you're wanting to attract, you're going to get there faster when you are in alignment, which leads me to the third one, which is abundance. Abundance is all about a state of being. A lot of people think of it like money. Money can be part of your abundance, but it's not all of it. It's not just about financial success. It's about when we step into our own worth, we open doors to the wealth, to the love, the joy, the freedom. That's where we're living in peace. And that's when things just seem to work. Of course, there's always going to be ups and like bumps and stuff on the road, ups and downs, but that's where you feel like you're living in that alignment that feels so much more alive. And so at the summit, I am going to do a deep dive. I know I touched here, but I'm going to do a deep dive on how to apply all of these into your life and just little action steps that you can take so that you can start living a life more abundantly and in alignment so that you feel alive all the time. And here's the good news. The good news is that everything you want is already inside of you. And it's just about remembering who you are. And that's what I'll be teaching at the summit. So I'm really excited to share that.
Oh, Amy, I love it. And I can see the reaction also in green room and in the chat. I think it's so important to recognize where we've taken on other beliefs and perhaps what happened to us. Life happens to us that takes us out of alignment, self-belief, and confidence. Genuinely, through this platform, met so many women whose hearts and souls been crushed, and like yourself, their voice taken away from them. But I think it's so important. Why is it important for you to do this work that you're doing today? Why is it personal?
I mean, it's personal because of my journey where I've come, and also because I still see a lot of my family living in all of these beliefs that don't serve them, and it saddens me that you don't have to live that life, right? You can live the life that you envision. You can live in your truth that feels good. And when you're not feeling good, it's because you're not in alignment. And so living as a broke single mom where I couldn't pay rent, that was real. That was rough, but living in a marriage that was so far from what I had envisioned and being treated that way was even worse, and all of these things that I experienced were because I was listening to other people and because I was deciding that, what they want is more important than what I want for me. But ultimately, we know what's best for us. We just have to trust it. And it's not out of selfishness. It's out of self-respect, self-fullness.
Yeah. And it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, but it starts somewhere. And one of the parts where it does begin for a lot of people is observing others who are speaking on stages like this, who sharing their experiences, hearing their stories. And also, may I say and congratulate you, Amy, reading in the books. And this story, which you just shared about finding yourself in a situation of a relationship and marriage, and how you've always been silenced from the very early childhood. This is where you share your story of overcoming this adversity. How excited are you?
So excited. So excited. It's so crazy. You have it in your hand. I should have it in my hand in the next hour. I think it's getting delivered in an hour. So I'm excited.
Yes.
But yeah.
It will become available for you all to order very, very soon, beginning of February. Reason why it's not open yet, or it's not available on Amazon yet, because we're gonna have an official launch in Miami on 1st of February. And then on 4th of February, it will become available on order. We're very excited. This has been a labor of love. And Amy, I'm so proud of you for claiming your voice back, your power back, and being an inspiration for other women.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I just hope that I can touch other lives so that they can too step into their power and live the life that they're meant for.
I know they will. And I look forward to seeing you at the Women Thrive Summit as well as next week in Miami.
Yeah, so exciting. Yeah.
Thank you, Amy. We look forward to seeing you. And do connect with Coach Amy Saunders on her social media platforms. Thank you, Amy. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. This is Amy Saunders, and what a lineup already. But rest assured, we are just beginning. So make sure you stay here with us. We got some more amazing speakers lined up. So my next speaker, who is also a speaker at the Women Thrive Summit, as well as an author, very soon to become an author, who is Cassandra Love Lambert, and the visionary behind Sea Love. She is a trauma-trained somatic transformational coach, author, TV host, and an artist. She's fully certified in clinical EFT, brain spotting, and somatic attachment therapy. And Cassandra is a beacon of hope and transformation for women seeking healing and empowerment. Haven't gotten to know you, Cassandra, over the last year. You're just a sparkle of light. Oh, we have to unmute you.
I guess I can unmute myself. Yeah, thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm excited to meet you next week. And you have been a gem to find in my book journey and becoming an author and a speaker, because you really do over deliver, and you really care. So I love being under your wings. I love being under your wings.
And I love those wings behind you.
Yeah, you have, yes, you have amazing wings. So thank you.
Well, for someone who does somatic work, I know how important it is to create safe space and to support your clients. And I had the opportunity to read your book really early before the world has got to read it. It brought me to many tears and also relief knowing where you are today, and that your story will help and support others who may have not had a voice. So congratulations, as your book is getting prepared to be launched very soon. How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling all kinds of feelings. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling nervous because it is a very vulnerable thing to put some of those pieces of my journey out there, because for a good chunk of my life, I was living in survival mode and just like trauma driven, not realizing it. So there's this huge piece of vulnerability, but I feel good about it. I wasn't ready before. I am ready now at 42.
Never too late. Look, never too late. And
Yeah.
it's deeply tied into your mission, which I know you're going to share. I'm going to hand over the mic because we could be here forever.
Yeah, this was a great opening, though, because I actually wanted to touch on a little bit more heavier of a topic today. So what I wanted to lead in with is that not all abuse leaves marks and scars that you can see with your eyes. But that doesn't mean that it's not impactful. In fact, the abuse that doesn't leave marks and scars impacts us deeply, and sometimes we aren't even aware of it. Therefore, it becomes more damaging because it's just in there and it becomes part of your identity. Gaslighting, being told you're a baby for crying, emotional invalidation, neglect, being ignored by someone you love, being told your feelings are wrong or they don't matter, being criticized constantly and picked apart, being yelled at. All of these are forms of abuse. And they impact our sense of self, and they go into our subconscious, and they create disempowering beliefs like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm damaged goods. And these beliefs then infiltrate every area of our life, becoming the lens we see ourselves with and the world, and they become a part of our internal programming. And that determines what we do, and don't do, who we gravitate towards and who we stay away from, what we pursue and what we don't, and what we accept or what we tolerate. And these invisible scars and marks aren't something you can just think your way out of. They are internal, and it takes becoming your own hero to transform your pain into power. And hey, I'm Cassandra Love Lambert, also known as 𝐯_Love, and I went through all forms of abuse in childhood, the visible kind that you could see with your eyes, like sexual abuse, and the invisible kind that you couldn't see, and it impacted me for decades. I felt like damaged goods. I felt not good enough, and I felt unworthy, and that showed up in the relationships I ended up in. I ended up in so many abusive relationships. It also manifested into the situations I found myself in because of these beliefs, and it felt like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, and it followed me wherever I went. And no matter what I did or tried, I couldn't escape it, the repetitive patterns that kept showing up in my reality. And that's how these things work. You cannot escape yourself. Wherever you go, there you are. And it made me struggle with, what's the point in being here? What's the point in life if it's filled with so much darkness? Like, I didn't understand what the point of being here was, and I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And I used to pray that someone would come and save me. No one came and saved me. I used to pray for things to be easier. Things didn't get easier. And all that ever did was leave me feeling powerless, or it opened me up to getting into abusive relationships because Prince Charming tends to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, and no one's coming to save you. So it took me having my daughter and becoming a single mom to begin to truly heal everything that felt so broken inside. And she gave me purpose, and she gave me a why. And I knew I didn't want to hand her all of my baggage, just like my mom did with me, and just like her mom did with her. Like, I wanted to be the chain breaker. I wanted to give my daughter the gift of a life free from this baggage. And so I turned to something I hadn't tried before. I had tried all these worldly types of healing, and it always left me feeling stuck. Nothing quite got to the roots. So I turned towards a higher power, and I was angry. If there's a higher power, why did you allow me to go through all these things, especially when I was a child? And I felt awkward. I didn't know what I was doing. The idea of praying, I'm like, what is this? And all I just did was keep taking another step and another step. And it took a step toward me. This divine, unseen, mysterious energy would take a step towards me, and it guided me towards somatic work, EFT tapping. And I went to EFT tapping. I thought it was really silly because you're tapping on your points, but I started to feel better. And then I started to notice shifts happening in my life. And not only did the shifts happen, but they stayed. And so I was like, I'm convicted. This is the thing I can help people with. This is the thing I can help other women who also feel trapped. And so I got certified, and then I birthed my pain into power process. And I've been helping moms rise and reclaim their crown and become their own heroes ever since. And in my talk in March, I'm going to share the first 3 keys to reclaiming your crown and regaining your confidence after abuse. And I'm so excited to share these keys with you because they've been so life-changing for me and my clients. And it's time for you to remember that you're a queen. You're already a queen. You were born a queen, and it's just time to rise.
I am celebrating you. I'm so excited. Chain breaker on your set. You are. And the work you're doing is so important. I know motherhood is not easy, especially going through motherhood after trauma, and as deep trauma as you have gone through, it's tough. And I think you're pretty much a hero for a lot of women who will be looking up to you and reading your story, and hopefully getting the support that they need.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's so like the more you get into this work, right? And the more you help women set themselves free, the more compassion you do have for the generations before though, because they weren't doing this work. Like this work has really been coming about in my generation, and the earlier generations had no awareness, right? So you have a little bit of compassion, and it's just, you really don't want to, the more aware you become, you really don't want to give that to your kid because they're going to have their own stuff. But like, why do I want to add my stuff to your stuff to make life harder?
Yeah. And life is not easy. Life is just, it's tough. And having read your story, it's like life kept throwing curveballs at you one after the other. And I love when you said, you got to be your own hero. Prince Charming isn't coming. No one is coming to save you. And you have to be the one, take responsibility for your life, because things are not going to magically change.
Yeah, the more that actually kept me trapped and stuck more, the more I was wishing and hoping for things to get easier, they actually kept getting harder. So I started to just realize I needed to become stronger. And then that's like where things started to change.
Yeah, sometimes it's a shift in the mindset. And sometimes that's why we need mentors and people who've been there to help you get out of that kind of vortex quicker and more effective. Because some things like talk therapy doesn't always work to deal with something as traumatic and difficult as you have gone through, which you wrote about in your book. You tried that just doesn't work.
Didn't work. Yeah, because it didn't really get it, like, to the roots. It didn't release it from the body or the nervous system. And yeah, talking about something, you can't think your way or talk your way out of a feeling if it's in your body. You have to feel your way through with like guidance and somebody holding the space for you. So
yeah, a much deeper work. I know we could be here forever. I know that trauma underpins so much of our lives, so much of our reactions, so much of our own limiting beliefs and things that we can't get through and break through. So if you're wondering why you can't get through to that next level, why you can't sort of get yourself out of the same pattern, the same unhealthy relationships or whatever, not, that is probably the work that needs to happen on a much deeper level. And this is where, surrounding yourself with women like Cassandra who've been there, done that, who also are going to share their knowledge and expertise at the summit and in their books, is just kind of the beginning of your journey of putting yourself out there for healing.
yeah, I love that you pointed to that too, because some people like to discredit their trauma, like, oh, well, it wasn't as extreme as theirs, so mine isn't nothing. But then that's denying the impact that it's had on you, and then that keeps you stuck as well. So the truth is, everybody has some form of trauma, and it impacts you, and so the support is needed if you really want to transform it. Yeah,
100%. Cassandra, how do people connect with you?
They can, to see like more of like the work, they can go to painintopoweracademy.com. And then if you just want to like connect and like just be on the journey with me, Instagram is really great, which is at C_love_Lambert.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing today, and we look forward to seeing you at the summit in March and next week in Miami.
Yep.
Oh, can't wait. See you there. Bye for now. This is such a community. Look, if you're still here, I need to see you in the chat. How are you all feeling? Who have been some of your favorite speakers today? Who really stood out? Whose message stuck with you? The point of these events is to inspire you, but make sure that we deliver something that is powerful, impactful, and hopefully life-changing. In just 5 minutes, your life could change. Now, my next speaker, who I love connecting with and hearing her speak on our stage, is Natalie Baird-King, who is an acclaimed author, a speaker on how to obtain emotional freedom. She's also an emotional freedom coach, helping high executive professionals find freedom, purpose, and live their dreams. As a family law attorney and mediator for over 23 years, Natalie understands how difficult it is to forgive others who caused us pain. And she's delivered speeches and workshops and media segments on various stages, teaching her method that she developed in her book, Forgiving the Unforgivable. Natalie, good to see you. Hello.
Thank you, Raimonda. It's so good to be here. And I'm so inspired by everybody that's been speaking today. And I just love being a part of this community. It's really awesome.
Thank you. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. It's very cold where I am here in Tampa, Florida, in the 30s. We don't ever get to this cold, but this is nothing compared to probably most of the United States and many other aspects of Europe. But I know in Miami it's very warm. So when you guys will be there, I can promise it will be very warm when you guys get there. So
I was just about to say, don't give us the forecast. Do we get to hang out with you in Miami when we come?
I would love to, and I believe it or not, I will be in Cancun that week. I'm doing the actual meditation seminar that week, so I'm doing some great work, and I'm going to be sending you guys some great energy while you're here in the great state of Florida, this wonderful, usually warm peninsula. So
Well, I
I'll
hope
be
you'll
thinking
get
about
to
you.
warm up in Cancun.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Natalie, I'll hand over the keys to you and we'll be back at the end of your talk.
Thank you so much. Ladies, thank you so much. It's really great to be here, like I said before. Just a little bit about me. I'm an attorney. I do family law. Done this for almost 25 years, and I do mediation practice pretty much solely at this point in time in my career. But my passion really lies around my healing journey. And similar to Cassandra's journey, I also had healing from a lot of physical and sexual trauma as a child at the hand of my father. And it was very difficult growing up. And I'll tell everybody my age. I'm in my mid 50s. I love these bright lights that make us look younger. But it wasn't until I actually hit 50 years old that I started to realize that something was off and I needed to make some changes in my life. And the catalyst for me was when I went to Costa Rica and I went to an ayahuasca retreat and I ended up taking plant medicine, and it revealed so much about my life. And that's where I actually found forgiveness. I ended up forgiving my father. He's passed away and on this earth, but I saw him on the other side. And it was this unbelievably beautiful experience that I got to be able to see him in such a different light than what I was here. And I learned and found out what forgiveness was. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about self-forgiveness, because I wrote my book, Forgiving Unforgivable, about the forgiveness that I was able to find from my father. But the self-forgiveness piece of forgiveness is sometimes the hardest. One of the things that I had a very difficult time, because my dad died 13 years ago, was on the day that he died, I wished him to be dead. And I didn't know he was dead at the time, or he had passed at that time. And I carried around this guilt and this shame for years. And it took me a little bit later, after I figured out how to forgive him through the wonderful plant medicine of ayahuasca, that allowed me to actually see things for what I consider my truth. But what I simply learned is the self-forgiveness piece is really something that we kind of harbor the key within ourselves. That key is always about letting go. And I ended up writing a book just recently over the past 8 months called Accepting Unacceptable. You can see the theme going on with my second book related to my first. But this book is really about how do we find self-forgiveness for ourselves, and after carrying around these things that we just torment ourselves on and we can't let go of. So I ended up establishing an acronym called LOVE, which I love. And it's great going after Cassandra, because that being her last name. So I thought, well, the universe is telling us a sign. So I'm glad I got to pick this today in regards to talk to you guys about it. But LOVE is the acronym. And the first step to self-forgiveness is let the memories arise to the present moment. And what that really means is that you have to actually kind of look at yourself and go back to that moment where you're like, what am I carrying around shame, guilt, and regret for? I'll tell you a little story about, I have a daughter, she's 14, and when she was little, I was in a really tough place. I was venturing on and teetering on a divorce at that time from my former husband, and she was 4 years old at the time. And I remember getting ready one morning, and it was one of those mornings where you're running late with everything, trying to get lunches and, you know, get her to pre-K, and I'm trying to get to work. And I think I had court that morning. And she asked me to braid her hair, and I braided her hair, and I braided it in 2 braids. And she got very upset because she wanted 1 braid. Well, she threw a temper tantrum, and I lost it. I started yelling. I lost my temper, very frustrated. And the next thing I knew was my ex-husband was grabbing my hand saying, stop. Well, I had in this moment almost like blacked out. And I had taken a spoon out of the kitchen drawer, and I started beating my daughter with it. And when he had grabbed my arm, I fell to the floor, and I realized, oh my God, I became my father. For years and years and years, I carried that moment and tortured myself with this pain and suffering, telling myself I was this horrible mother. How could you do this? That afternoon, my daughter at 4 years old told me she forgave me. And she's like, I know, Mommy, you didn't mean to hit me with the spoon. But for me, I carried that around, and I was like, I need to sit in this pain and suffering. Somehow that was going to make it better. And what I realized is that I had to let that memory come up. And the second step is I had to open my heart. And opening my heart meant this. I had to let those emotions come up, and I had to ask myself, is this really worth it? Is this really worth sitting in that space, telling myself I'm not a good person because I made a horrible mistake back then that taught me something amazing about myself as I sit here today? It was a lesson in my life that I feel as though it carried with me, but those pieces of that emotion, that being regret and the shame and the guilt, was definitely something that impacted my life substantially, where I just couldn't move forward. I would get all these career opportunities, and I would get these things that opportunities for writing books and things like, but I couldn't get past it because I was just holding this back, telling myself that I wasn't worthy, telling myself that I wasn't a good mom, telling myself that I wasn't a good person. So I had to open my heart and really actually see what I was actually doing in regards to moving forward in my life. And the third actual step is visualization. I had to visualize myself saying, what would life be to be free of those actual emotions? One of the things that I did when I was going through this process of self-forgiveness is I took a picture of I had a picture of myself when I was about 6 years old, and I put it on my phone and I put it on my screensaver. And every day I saw it multiple times because, you know, we pick up our phones lots. And I realized that that little girl, she was so precious. She was perfect. And all she wanted to do was be loved. And she was very innocent. And I look at her and I'm like, she's human. She made a mistake one time when she picked up that spoon with her daughter. But she still is a very, very, very sweet, kind, and loving young woman. And now she's a middle-aged woman. But she's truly that little girl, what was inside of her. And so I had to visualize, think of myself as that little girl and visualize my life without those emotions such as regret and that shame and guilt. And the last is experience freedom. I'd experience freedom by letting all of it go. I think sometimes that piece is sometimes the hardest because when we let go, this open channel happens and like you're free to live any life that you want to live without these emotions gripping you back to the past, to that moment of these emotions that keep you basically trampled inside this little box. And when the box comes open, you're free to do whatever you want in life, and sky's the limit. And so when we can actually practice that self-forgiveness, which is the key, in my opinion, to true freedom for any dream that we want in this lifetime. I think that if you could do this like I've done it, like if you could actually go through those steps of love and find that self-forgiveness for any piece of the past that you've been carrying around, you can actually have freedom like I did too. I truly appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I'm so looking forward to the summit. And I'm really, really, really grateful, Abby. So thank you guys so much.
Natalie, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your heart so vulnerably and really opening up your heart to your story around self-forgiveness. And it really takes courage to go there, right? Really does.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful to hear your story. I love to hear you speak.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you.
Natalie, where can we... Oh, let's bring Natalie on. Back
No
on.
worries.
Where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to find me on my website, I do transformational coaching, so you can see all of that information at forgivingandforgivable.com. If you want to connect with me, you can find me at Natalie Bird King on Instagram, or you can find me Forgiving and Forgivable on Instagram. Either one of those names are interchangeable on all the social medias and also on LinkedIn. So I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'm looking forward to our summit.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much. It's been lovely.
You're welcome.
Today. So we're a little bit over halfway. I would love to invite back onto the stage the founder of Women Thrive, the beautiful Ramonda Jan, the iconic Ramonda Jan.
I appreciate it.
How are you finding our showcase so far? The speakers have been magnificent, right?
Yeah, it's really standing out. That's and this is part of, I guess, the ethos of Women Thrive stage, and me personally as well, is to bring your authenticity and vulnerability. And all of the speakers today have been so personal, have really talked about some of the, really hard things that have happened in their lives. And I'm just so proud of, I don't know, I'm feeling emotional. I'm feeling like tearing up because I feel proud of them. Because when we show up from a place of authenticity and we speak our truth, we empower ourselves and we show others that it's okay and you don't have to be silenced, you don't have to live in isolation, and you have a whole community right behind you and here in support to support you.
Yeah, it just makes things just easier in a way and more fun, and it's so important to have this community. It really is.
I'm proud. I'm emotional and proud.
Well, I think we need to move on to our next speakers. I just thought it'd be nice just to have a very brief midway point. Are we ready to carry on, do you think?
Yes. And before we do, I just want to remind everyone that we have our special edition magazine. Well, this is a January's issue, but if you don't know yet, we have a Women Thrive magazine that comes out every single month featuring some of these amazing women's stories. February is going to be an incredible issue. It is around self-love and also speaking your truth and being authentic. So if you connecting with the stories and the hearts of our speakers today, you may be able to read their stories in the February's edition. And you can still sign up on our website because we're shipping tomorrow. So if you sign up on the Women Thrive magazine website tonight, you will still receive February's edition. And the March edition intake is open. So if you want to feature yourself, if you want to write something for our magazine, make sure you head over to our magazine, submit your interest. March is a very special month for us because it's our summit month, and also International Women's Day, Women's History Month. A lot to celebrate, and we are going to be releasing a special edition in March. So it's definitely worthwhile to sign up now or put your interest forward to be featured in the magazine. Who knows? You might be one of the ladies that we get to feature on our platform as well. So that's what I wanted to share before we move on to the next speaker.
Well, I received a big box today in the mail with the magazines to take over to Miami. I definitely need extra luggage. It's so excited to share that. So I can go and get, are you happy for us to share it on camera? Okay, I'll go get a magazine.
100%. Well, why don't we bring a next speaker, Heather,
Yeah.
and then we'll share the magazine afterwards as well.
Let's do that afterwards. Amazing. Thank you, Ramonda. So we have got our next speaker waiting patiently behind the scenes in the green room. I would love to bring on Heather Hansen. She is affectionately, let me get my teeth in, affectionately known as the gut health paramedic. And she is the visionary behind the transformative digestive CPR framework. As a wellness expert, she's on a mission to empower leaders to conquer the relentless issues of bloating, fatigue, brain fog, and weight gain that the medical community often leaves unresolved. Heather, we love having you in our community. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is, you know how things play out energetically for a reason. I feel like I was meant to be back to back with Natalie to talk about something different than I was going to talk about, because I think it's important following her talk. So it's very interesting how that works.
I love how we're all so aligned, aren't we, as a community, and it's so succinct, and there's always this thread that goes through it. And I know that you're up to exciting things, so I know that Ramonda's going to be speaking to you about that after your talk, but for now, please take it away.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, interesting enough, changing a little bit about the perspective of what I wanted to talk about, but it's really driven by Natalie's talk, because it's such an important piece that she was dealing with the emotions. And part of the reason that I developed the programs that I did in my practice was because I was able to reverse my own autoimmunity, because I was going from doctor to doctor to doctor trying to manage these symptoms that I was having. And no one could tell me how to fix it. They just told me, oh, you have this autoimmunity, you're stuck with this problem. And I was determined that I was not going to be just stuck with the problem at all. I needed to fix it. So I went on this long journey of changing my food and changing my sleep and working on stress management and perception. And all of that was lovely for so many years. The problem was I never dealt with the deep-rooted emotions from my childhood and the childhood that I grew up with. And you can actually read a bit about my childhood and my young adult life and even into my adult life in the Women Thrive Volume 4 that's coming out February 4th. But because of, I wrote that because me, myself, not dealing with the emotions that I stuffed down from the abuse, I just kept stuffing things down and I kept going because that's what I thought I had to do and live my life. So I'd stuff and I'd stuff and I'd stuff and I'd keep going. And that drove me into being this overachiever. So I always had to do one more thing and one more thing and be the top of my class because I was trying to prove to myself and to others that I was worthy. But it was because of those emotions rewired my brain into thinking that I wasn't good enough and that I needed to be in control of my environment and being safe. So it led me through this long journey of doing all these things to finally realize stuffed emotions cause symptoms. And a lot of my symptoms were coming from that unresolved trauma that I never really dealt with. And it took me until I was 48 years old until someone actually told me in a class that I was taking that I never actually dealt with the problem. I just distanced myself. I moved away. The problem is if our body's screaming at us, if our body is if you're tired all the time and dragging out of bed and your brain is foggy and you're bloated and you can't figure out what's going on and you're doing everything right, you're eating right, you're exercising, there's something else going on within your body, and there's something else that needs to be addressed. And when you are struggling with symptoms like bloating and fatigue, it's really important to look at what else is going on in your life. Yesterday, I was meeting with one of my clients, and she's one of my mindset clients, but she's also part of my digestive CPR program, which is really bringing life back to the body, which is restoring digestion and absorption and detoxification and hormone balance. But the mind and the brain is such an important piece of that program. And so we had been working together for a while, and she was reversing her autoimmunity as well and feeling much better. But all of a sudden she had a flare where she was feeling just pain in her belly and some change in her bowel movements. And we were talking about it. And as I went through all my questions to make sure there wasn't something medically going on with her, I asked her what was going on in her mind of, is there some pressure, something that you're worried about? What was going on? And she realized that she was worrying about some tasks that she hadn't completed, which was creating more worry and worry and worry and worry, which was actually leading to what she thought was going to be disappointment towards someone. And so we had this talk, and we were able to unwind what was going on with her digestive tract, because it was really her mind and her worry that was causing that disconnect. So when you're worried and you're stressed, you can't digest your food effectively. And then if you can't digest your food effectively, nothing else works the way that it's supposed to. So we were able to come back together, and we were able to get her symptoms under control by just analyzing the thought processes and what was going on in her mind and what she was telling herself. So I know a lot of you women out there are very hard on yourself. You tell yourself you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you have to do this, you have to do that. And when you're telling yourself, that's changing the physiology of your body. So if you're like me and you tell yourself things that you would never tell anybody else, those are things to stop and really think about and analyze. So my ask for you is, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling bloated, if you're constipated, if you're doing everything right and you can't lose weight, sit down and analyze your thoughts. Like, what are you actually thinking? What is actually going on in your mind? What are you telling yourself? And then look at that and tell yourself, would I tell my friend those same things? And does those thoughts make me feel good? And are they really true? And when you realize and you sit down and look at that, you're probably telling yourself things that were never true to begin with. And so it's really important to analyze those so that we can get our mind working with our gut, working with our body. And it's important to make sure that we're not stuffing emotions down on a daily basis. So you can find me on my website. You can flourishnutritionaltherapy.com. You can order the new book that's coming out February 4th that tells a lot more about my story. And here's Ramonda to talk more about that.
Heather, you're amazing. I love today that we're talking a lot around practical healing modalities as well when you have gone through trauma or you have stuffed emotions, because it does manifest, and it manifests into long-term illnesses and ailments, and to some extent it could be things like even cancer that could manifest itself. So it's imperative that we start to deal with our emotions and on a physical level. So thanks for sharing this really important information and bring it to awareness for people who may not know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yes, you are right. I got a copy of the Women Thrive book, Volume 4. Congratulations. How are you feeling? You're going to be an author very soon.
I'm excited and I'm ready. There was a little bit of apprehension at first about telling my story, but it's so important, right? People need to know that they're not the only one going through struggles. And they're more than what happened to them. And there is a way out. There is a way to feel better. And this book just depicts that from so many authors in so many ways of there's a way around. You can change your life. You can make a decision that you're going to get better or feel better or go in a different direction. And it's important to know that someone else has already been there that can help get you to the other end faster and help a coach, right? So
I'm proud of you. When I first read your story, I was like, oh my God. And I don't think you realized how impactful it was when you first wrote it.
I don't think I did either, because so much of my life I minimized what happened to me. What made the biggest impact is when I was writing the first draft, and I was just writing all the things, just like you said, write all the things out, write them out, get it out, all the things that don't have to go into the book. And when I wrote the very long list of things that happened to me, I asked myself, if this happened to one of your granddaughters, if any one of these things happened to one of your granddaughters, would it be okay? And of course, the answer was absolutely not. And that's when I realized how much I actually went through and how much I needed to tell my story.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
For being so brave to do that and being a voice for those who don't have it. Congratulations, Heather. I get to see you in Miami. I hug you.
Very soon.
And we'll get to see you at the Women Thrive Summit. What can people expect at your talk?
So I'm going to dive in deeper about manifestation of symptoms and disease processes within the body that's driven from the mindset and the mind and those old emotions stepping down, and giving some practical tips of how do you start unwinding? How do you start peeling the layers of the onion? Because this isn't an overnight process. It is a process, and it's, you deal with some of the layers and you feel better, and then you deal with some more layers and then you feel better. Because once you deal with some of the basic layers that are, I'm calling them basic, they're not basic, getting your body working right, then you're able to dive deeper and deal with the really deep-rooted problems that are going on.
Thank you so much, Heather. And make sure you connect with her across her social media channels and website. But of course, you can head over to womenthrivesummit.com and register for Heather's talk for March. So we'll see you there, Heather. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye for now. Can I just bring back my lovely co-host? What you got there?
I'm not unpacking it because I need to bring it on a plane. There's a lot of them. Look. I can't, like, this was a surprise, and I opened the box and I was like, oh my goodness, what a truly iconic cover. So stunning.
Yay, congrats. Beautiful cover. Can't wait to see it in person. Yes, you got a whole pack of it. It's coming to Miami with us. So for whoever is coming to hang out with us, you will get a beautiful copy. Thank you. Abigail, we got our next speaker. Do you want to introduce her? Should I introduce her?
I'd love to introduce her. I'm going to go for it now. I'm going to introduce next speaker. So I'd love to welcome onto the stage Ella Rivkin. She is a renowned financial expert and the visionary founder of ERPS Group, committed to empowering business owners and individuals to reach their personal, professional, and financial goals. Guided by her core belief, it's all in your hands, she inspires people to take control of their financial futures and create lasting success. Welcome, Ella. It's great to see you here.
Yes, it's great to be here. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we love you. We love to hear you speak. We love your whole mindset around money and creating success. It's always something that we need to learn more about. So I'm looking forward to your talk. So please, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I like to share my story of how I remember this day literally like yesterday, how I was sitting in this cold December night. It was a Thursday night, and I was sitting at my desk in my shiny, beautiful office, and everything was just exactly the way that I pictured and dreamed of. The sleek glass walls, the polished glass doors, the floors and the office, the smell of the new furniture. Everything was just exactly the way I envisioned. But then as I started back to my computer, after paying my bills, and I saw as my bank account was going down into the negative, I felt all of a sudden exhausted, overwhelmed, and completely stuck. This excitement of building my business that I was so passionate about got overshadowed by this financial stress. And then I was sitting and I was thinking, for the past 17 years, I was working around the clock. I was an absent mother to my beautiful 2 daughters, an absent wife to my husband. I had no time for myself, nor my health. And I felt like my whole life was just passing me by. And then in that moment, I thought that the very own business that I was thinking and dreaming and visioning, and that's why I opened up, that is going to bring me and my family financial freedom, but then yet it just caught me trapped in these vicious cycles. And that night I realized something very profound for myself at that moment, that something had to change, that I cannot keep doing in this same vicious cycles. And most importantly, I cannot keep doing this alone, that I needed to figure out a better way of how to do things. Because I already tried absolutely everything, working more hours, doing more sales, making more money, only to realize that there's still not enough money left at the end of the month to pay all these bills. So a couple of months actually before that, I started doing some kind of research, and I was looking and searching all these different stories, listening to different people that became successfully, and then heard the stories. Then one of them I remember I heard, they said, oh, you know, one day I was like all the homeless, and then just like next month I'm like all millionaire. But then when I was listening to all of that, I was like deep down inside of me, I was like very skeptical. But that night when I was like recapping all of that, something deep down inside of me clicked, saying that, you know what, I probably need to try this out. And that looks like that's the only way out for me. And then surely exactly that's what I started doing. I signed up myself to attend these different types of workshops, seminars, got myself coaches, and fully submerged myself into all this learning, personal development, and business development. I'll tell you that it wasn't that easy. It was challenging. I didn't have money, but I decided that I'm going to submerge. And as I started getting momentum and getting more and more into this, then I would make more money, and then I would reinvest again. And then I was so fortunate that I was able to learn from the world best leaders like Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Brian Tracy, and many others. So today my life looks completely different. I finally have time to spend with myself, for myself, take care of myself, spend time with my family, with my loved ones, to actually enjoy my life, thrive. And then the most important right now is that I have time to invest into my business and continue spreading and working on my mission. But my story is not unique. Many of you probably who are listening in this room are business owners, and you're going through the same cycles, feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and completely stuck. But the thing is, none of this is your fault. No one teaches us how to make money, how to become financially free. In fact, actually, they teach us opposite. Go to school, study hard, then get a good job, secure job, make money, work hard. They don't teach you how to make money work for you. I'm Ella Rivkin, and I believe that everyone has the power to set themselves financially free if they have the right system in place. So I would like to share with you like these 3 things that help me to set myself financially free, that system that I started implemented, and today I'm helping other business owners help to do the same thing. I'm helping them to grow their businesses, to make it profitable, to work fewer hours, less hours, so then this way they can actually enjoy their life. And then when they have this freedom, enjoyment, then they can spread the mission And that's how we create this ripple effect. So the number one thing that what I learned is that the number one obstacle that was stopping me from growing, it was all me. I was always thinking that was external. Being an immigrant coming to this country with no money, not having good education, I was like thinking and blaming, oh, okay, I wasn't born here. I don't speak very good English. I speak with the accent. And then I didn't have a good education. It's like these are all external things. But then once I learned that it's all in me, it's all internal, that I have the power to control what I do, how I live. So that completely changed everything. The second thing that changed for me is to having the right people around me, right advisory team. So in the beginning, I was trying to figure out everything on my own, was trying to build the business all on my own. I didn't trust many people. In fact, I didn't trust anyone. That's how I was brought up, but that's a separate story. It's, my mom always told me that don't trust anyone, just rely on your own forces. But what I actually learned is that if you're alone, you cannot go that far. But if you have your team, that you can go further. And that's what I learned, is to have the right advisory people, team that will surrender yourself. And then that will help you. And then you can scale much faster. And you can then impact more people. So, and the third thing that I learned that helped me is how to actually have money work for you instead of you working for money. So I learned how to invest into the real estate, create passive income. And today, I'm proud to say that I'm an investor in over 7,000 units that generate passive money, real income that brings real cash flow every month. And then today, instead of focusing on working myself and thinking on how to pay this bill, so this money pay my bills, and now I can focus on helping other business owners to create the same dream life that they would like to have for themselves, and bring their family and spend time with their family, and then create this ripple effect. So these are the three things that help me, and I'm sharing that with you. And this is something that I'm sharing with the business owners and helping them throughout the same system that I implemented, by implementing the system, to put themselves on this successful path, on the beautiful path, and then create this ripple effect. So then if any of you would love for me to be your trusted advisor, to have a trusted advisory team, then you are welcome to reach out to me, and I would be happy be part of your trusted advisory team to share all my knowledge and help you to create this financial freedom for yourself and your loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you. I love your story. I love to hear you tell your story. It's very inspirational, to hear about where you were and, the things that you had to overcome in order to create success. And congratulations on everything that you've achieved. I'd really love to ask you a question, actually. You were talking there about that you were raised not to trust people. Like, what was it that helped you to really build that trust in others? What was it? Like, what was the breakthrough for you to create that trust?
Oh, thank you. That's a beautiful question. I'll tell you, I actually, like, this whole transformation journey started for me 10 years ago. And one thing actually what happened is I was in a very terrible accident. And then when I was going through this in the hospital, I remember I was like crying, and when I speaking to my mom, she even like told me, "Oh, I didn't raise you to be like that. Okay, like you have to be strong and all of this." And then she was telling me like how to be strong and keep it all to myself. But I actually, I reached out to, well, back then he was my friend and a family member, and then eventually he became a coach. And I texted him and I reached out to him. And that day when I was in the hospital going through all these emotions in the pain, he sent me from Kabbalah a copy of the saying in the Kabbalah that says that, and like that you gotta reach out to people, and it said actually it's okay to ask for help. That's the way it said. Yeah. It's okay to ask for help. And then he, and I was going all this emotional, he actually sent me that, and he said, you know what, I literally just came out of that lesson, and this is what we were learning today. And then that day when I read all of this, and then like, again, like having all this conversation with my mom, where she empowers me to be strong again, don't rely, you gotta like be all that strong. So I actually started thinking, okay, like who can I reach out for help? And then surely to say, listen, I have so many people in my network and people I know. So, and I reached out to one of my former clients, and he is a sport medicine doctor. So he wasn't my client anymore, like back then. And again, like I didn't know the reason why he wasn't my client. Like I would probably tell myself different types of stories. But that day I needed to solve my pain. I reached out to him. So like that was like the first time when I was like, okay, you know what? Like I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to trust my instincts and that person. And I reached out to him, and surely like that person, he like there's like a long story. I don't want to like spend so much time on that, but he reached out to me. He said, thank you so much for reaching out to me. And then he healed me. It's because of him. Like I don't have like these injuries and my arm is not paralyzed. And then he spent all this time. And that lesson taught me that it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
And then it's okay to trust people, and then stop telling ourselves all these stories, because that's the story I was telling myself. Oh, he's not my client. Probably he doesn't like me anymore. Why would I reach out to him? But actually he was so happy. And then he was so happy to heal me and to help me. And now we're best friends. So like, and then little by little I started like doing all of this in the business in all my life.
That's fantastic, Ella. Thank you so much. I just wanted to hear your take on it, because, if you're right, we surround ourselves with others, and that's what helps us scale, right? And building that trust. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking on the stage today. We're really excited to hear your talk on the Women Thrive stage in March on the summit. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm excited to be here. You are fantastic. And I'm excited to be part of this community. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ella. Thank you so much. So I hope you're inspired by Ella's story. We have a lot of stories actually with our speakers and authors from this year's summit and previous summits. I find it really inspirational when you hear about a woman sharing her story of where she really struggled, and then she was able to create those breakthroughs. Amy was sharing that with us earlier on in the stage as well. So we still have 3 more speakers to share with you. Thank you so much for staying with us, for cheering us on. We love to see your comments. Please keep them coming. Please keep showing the love for our wonderful speakers. I am really excited to welcome onto the stage a wonderful lady, a really wonderful lady called Karen Strauss. Karen has held various positions in the publishing industry for over 35 years. She's worked at Random House, Macmillan Crown and Avon in sales, marketing and publicity. She's worked with so many celebrities, President Jimmy Carter, Jimmy Stewart, Martha Stewart. The list goes on, but in 2010 she founded Hybrid Global Publishing, and it's a firm that works with entrepreneurs and speakers and coaches to help them write, publish, distribute and promote their books in order to generate unlimited leads, obviously to get on more speaking stages and grow their business by attracting more clients. Karen, welcome on the stage.
Wonderful to be here, Abigail. Thank you so much.
It's wonderful. So Karen, we can't actually see you. Is your camera on?
My camera is on.
Okay. Well, take it away. We can't see you, but we can definitely listen to you. So take it away, Karen.
Okay, sure. Why not? I'll speak in the dark. Hello, everybody. So I can't see you. You can't see me. So put in the chat if you've ever read a book. Put in the chat if you've ever listened to a book. Ever read a book? Ever bought a book for someone? Yes. Yes. Checked a book out of the library. Sneaked a peek at a person's house when you were at a friend's house and sneaked a peek at their coffee table or at their bookshelves. Yes, we've all done that. So books, I love them. They are a fabric of our lives. You know, books have the power to grab my heart. They always have since I was 8 years old. And I was reading with my father all these things from Annie Katushka and the poppy seed cake to all the way to Shakespeare. It's always, always been in my heart, in my mind, to work with books because I love reading them so much. It makes me feel things. It makes me discover new things. It makes me think differently. I love books, if you can tell already, right? So put in the chat if you want to write a book. If you have an idea for a book, big or small, you have an idea and you would love to get that idea out into a book in existence. Yes, one day, says Daisy. Yes, says Kaylin. Yes, says Rona. Kaylin, yes to all the rest. I love books. That's awesome. I'm with my people. So that is great. Now, tell me in the chat if you've actually written a book. Let me know if you've written a book, because if you have, that is fantastic. Keep your hands raised now if you've actually published a book. Because if you have published a book, put in the chat if you've published a book. Congratulations if you have. And to Heather Hansen, congratulations because you have beat the odds. Statistics show that 80% of Americans say they want to write a book. It's actually 80% of the human population. When you ask them, they always go, yes, I've always wanted to write a book. Or people have said, yes, I should tell my story. But did you know that only 3% of those books will ever actually get written? And out of that 3%, only 1% actually get published. That is an astounding statistic. So Heather, you are part of the 1%, and congratulations, and that is awesome. So last year, $129 billion of books were sold. So who bought a book last year? Tell me in the chat if you bought a book. Probably most of us have maybe bought a book, but you might be surprised to learn that the average number of books that a book that has been published by a traditional publisher like Random House or Simon & Schuster, the average number of books that sell are about 3,000 copies a year. That's it. And if you're self-publishing a book, the statistics are even grimmer. The average number of books that are sold are 250 copies of the book. So 33% of self-published authors make less than $500 a year. So we know that writing books, getting books published, getting books promoted, it's very hard. But you and I both know that one of the best ways to get authority, to make a difference in the world, is to actually write a book. Okay? So it's not just about selling books, it's about writing that book, getting your message out into the world. So if you're an entrepreneur, a coach, a speaker, if you're in the personal development space, you know that writing a book can gain you status, increase your reputation, and stop you from being the best kept secret in your industry. You'll get more speaking gigs, increase your visibility, attract more clients. And you know what? You will earn so much more money just by writing a book. And so that is pretty amazing. I know that writing a book can be daunting. Editing can be even more daunting. And the stats obviously are daunting. But if you are one of the 80% that want to write a book, and one of the 3% that wants to write it, and one of the 1% that are tenacious of book to actually get your book out there, come find me. My name is Karen Strauss. I can help you. I've been in the publishing industry for more than 35 years. Abigail gave you my background. I've worked with celebrities. I've helped business people birth their books from chaos and confusion to seeing books rise to the top of the bestseller list. So I'd love for you to hear my speech at the Women's Thrive Summit, and come to hybridglobalpublishing.com and have a chat with me.
Karen, thank you so much. I'm so sorry we couldn't see you. I think check out your webcam to make sure that it's working properly. But thank you so much. Thank you. I love to hear all the stats. I think it's really important that, you know, we understand the impact of writing a book. And I remember we had such a wonderful conversation, didn't we, on the Women Thrive podcast that we recorded a few weeks ago about, you know, the benefits and the breakthroughs of that. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today, Karen.
Thank you, Abigail.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the stage. So we are going to move swiftly on to our next speaker. We are kind of like staying on this East Coast. We're magnetizing the East Coast to us because Women Thrive are going to be coming over there very, very shortly, next week, in fact, for one of our wonderful in-person events. I would love to welcome onto the stage Daisy Lopez. She is a vocal activation and marketing consultant, and she's the founder of the Liberated Latina. I love that. I love that name so much. A brand that has become known for its innovative approach to marketing that helps entrepreneurs grow their brands into global movements. Daisy, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on. And I know that you're going to share so much wisdom with us. So I'm going to hand you over onto the stage now.
Thank you so much, Abby. And thank you to Women Thrive once again for hosting beautiful spaces like this for us all to come together. Today, I bring an important question to all women with a big message and a drive to create widespread change through their businesses. So if that's you, this next question, listen up. What if I told you that you already possess the only thing that can mobilize a global community behind your brand and create lasting impact? Would you believe me? Because the truth is, even without knowing you, your story, where you've come from, where you're going, I can assure you that you absolutely do. You have the same tool that brought iconic calls for change to life, like MLK Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. I mean, what a piece of just revolutionary expression. It's the only human muscle with the power to move a room of people all at once, to change life trajectories, and to create genuine human connection, even when we're miles, continents away, or even when we're connecting through a screen. So if any of you can guess what I'm referring to with this one powerful tool is, and if you guessed voice, you're on the right track. Because the truth is, and always has been, that your voice is an extraordinary force to be reckoned with. Your voice holds the power to shape new realities, to unify people all across the world, to bring healing into spaces of longstanding hurt. And I know that as entrepreneurs online, doing the social media thing, it doesn't often feel like our voice is powerful when we feel like we're just speaking into an abyss and our engagement is not popping off and our reel that we worked hours for only gets about 100 views. Maybe that's me, but the truth remains the same. Let's consider this. If there is no immense power in a woman's voice, then why has there been relentless generational efforts to silence it? If our voices weren't in fact capable of major influence, then why have women historically been barred from public speaking or taking positions of leadership, dating back all the way to ancient Greece? Why did we face such fierce opposition for the fight to have our voices be heard and have the right to vote? For me personally, I've even considered why there is a commonly used phrase in Spanish that directly translates to "you look prettier when you're quiet." And this has been told to little girls generation after generation. All of these points lead to that same deeper question: why all this effort to silence something that holds no power? Of course, we know that's never been true. And yet, even with how far we've come, this widespread effort of silencing is not just a thing of the past. It remains alive and well today in our culture, in our societal norms, and it's even cemented and made its way into our minds and our nervous systems. It stalls our impact and keeps amazing ideas and messages and stories and works like yours out of the masses of hands and lives that need it. For example, maybe for you, the fear of using your voice and speaking up leads to procrastination in your marketing, feeling resistance to sharing your work online and being widely visible. Or maybe you dilute and filter your words so much that either you say, I'm not going to bother, and you don't share, or you share, but it's really just an empty shell of who you really are and what you really want to say to the world. Or maybe it manifests as excruciating perfectionism, where that critical voice in your head says that you don't have the right words, you don't have the right ideas, you don't have the know-how. So you turn to others or software to speak and express for you. And I can only call these things out specifically because I, as well as so many other visionary entrepreneurs that I've worked with, have struggled with all this and more. And while it's incredibly frustrating to deal with, I can personally attest, these coping responses make all the sense in the world. Our bodies are reacting to the very real fear of what it's meant to be a woman expressed in this world. But this is not where our journey ends. And in fact, we're just at the starting line. And instead of staying quiet or continuing to dilute our message and our expression, or for us entrepreneurs settling for the bro marketing that really only breeds more fear and fake connection, we have an exciting other option. One where we can break free from the generational strongholds over our voices and translate that into the type of marketing that unifies global communities, creates real change, and as a byproduct, of course, creates a thriving business. So as we come to a close, I want to leave you with this. For centuries, we have been conditioned and told to sit quietly, to wait our turn, to nod in agreement and avoid disrupting the status quo to keep everybody else comfortable. But your calling to lead, to inspire, to create change is far stronger than any bit of that conditioning or silencing. So now is the time for us all to come together and, number one, embark on the real journey of what it means to hone the potency of your voice, and then effectively wield that power into the type of marketing that doesn't just grow a customer base, but it grows a thriving global movement that leaves the world better than we found it. And I know it sounds big and far off and like it's out in the distant future, but what I can tell you is that what I've seen over the past 4 years helping women like you with this work, it's not only 1,000% available to you, because you know that already, it's way closer than you think. So if you have a message and a body of work that you know needs to be in more hands and needs to be in more people's lives around the world, then I want to invite you to secure your spot for the Women Thrive Summit, because, I mean, first of all, the lineup is just incredible, as you've seen in our speakers today. But in our time together specifically, we're going to dive into that process of what does it really mean to discover your leading voice. And then I'm going to share some practical how-tos to translate that into marketing that drives real widespread impact through your thriving business. So I really hope to see you there. Your mission is worth it, and your people are waiting.
Yes, I see Abigail's like rooting for you in the green room. Yes, yes, yes. We need this message loud and clear, rippling throughout our communities, online, offline, for women to hear that their voices are powerful. Otherwise, they would not be attempted to be shut down for generations and generations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for us to rise to a power, to our true essence, to be the leaders. And I always say, women are the future of leadership, of
Yes.
true, authentic, aligned, purposeful, impactful, kind leadership. And women need to have a voice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it, even with all of the odds stacked against us, right, with having so many barriers to be able to hone what I call that leading voice, my true hope is that with spaces like this, right, we can continue to come together and share stories and continue to build each other up with the types of tools and resources that women in generations past didn't have, because now we have these global tools, global platforms where we can really share our genius and leave the world truly forever changed.
Yeah, but that work begins with us. And I know personally, having struggled with my voice, struggled with my confidence, felt like I was shut down. It really truly starts with you. And what drove me out of that state of disempowerment is knowing that my purpose and my mission was bigger than my pain or my struggle or my challenge. At times I thought I needed someone like yourself to activate my voice, to help me with my vocal cords, because I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak out, and I felt so trapped inside. And this is what's needed. It's a journey, and it's not easy. And you have to face yourself in the mirror. You're going to have to face some battles and challenges, but it's worthwhile. And just taking myself as an example from someone who didn't have a voice, who felt disempowered, physically struggled with my voice, to now have a platform for women to have a voice. You can go as far as your mind can go, as your vision can go, and you can find like-minded people who will be there alongside you to support you. But it starts with you speaking up about your purpose and your mission.
Amen.
It starts with that. You have to use your voice. Otherwise, we're going to be shut down for more generations to come. And this is not, we cannot afford to do that right now.
Whew, absolutely. And I love hearing your example, because I mean, I too lived the majority of my life feeling invisible, feeling like my voice didn't matter. And it's just such a testament to what we're really capable of. If I can go from the shaking wallflower in the back of the class, never raising her hand, just trying to literally be invisible, to, you know, being here, sharing a stage with somebody like yourself, it's just such a testament to what we can really do together. Yeah. And thank you for your commitment to your purpose, because here we all are.
Yes, it's important work. We're all going to do this work individually and collectively. And I'm glad that you are here on this platform. So glad that you're stepping into your purpose, your power, your mission. You're doing work that is you're called to do. And there's going to be a lot of women who's going to be touched by you. So Miss Daisy, I look forward to seeing you at the summit in March and next week in Miami as well.
You in Miami, and see you all in March. Thank you so much.
Look forward to it. Thank you. So do follow the Liberated Latina across social media channels. Connect with our speakers. They are amazing. And they have so many amazing gifts to share with you. Well, we have one more gift before we go today. And this gift is our very last speaker. Not what did I say? Last but not least, right? So I'd love to invite my lovely next speaker. I'm not sure if I will try to pronounce her surname to mess it up, but Marley is the founder and CEO of SOAR Community Network that helps leaders build compassionate, cohesive, and collaborative teams and organizational cultures that improve employee engagement, create positive social impact. As a certified talent optimization leader and DEIB consultant, she's an experienced facilitator and strategic for government agencies, businesses, nonprofits, and social enterprises. And speaking on this voice activations, women stepping into our leadership, I think Mali would be the next fantastic speaker for it. How are you, Mali, today?
I'm doing one so much. It's been a joy to watch every speaker before me and an honor to be a part of the lineup. So thank you so much.
Where are you joining us from today?
Washington, D.C., right outside of Washington, D.C. in Northern Virginia. Yes.
How important it is, do you think, for us as women right now to step into our leadership?
Oh my goodness, it's everything. It's absolutely everything with the climate that we're living in. You know, especially being the week that it is here in the United States of America, it is very important that we completely lean in to our power and also empowering each other so that we are not daunted by the hugeness of the work that needs to get done.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing you speak. We'll be back at the end.
Wonderful. Well, what if the very moments that break us were also the very moments that fully shape us? I am Mali Pompadit, and I believe our greatest power comes from the pain that we've endured and the mistakes we've made and the lessons we've chosen to learn, and I'll highlight chosen. Today, I want to share my journey, one filled with loss, fear, missteps, but ultimately defined by resilience, lots of self-compassion, and a deep sense of purpose to do the work that I was always meant to do and to live a life that I'm truly proud of. My story began in Laos, a country ravaged by war. As a young girl, I fled with my family, leaving behind everything we knew. We arrived in a new world with nothing but hope, and even that felt so fragile and sometimes still feels fragile. Those early years were filled with uncertainty and grief. I lost a fiance when I was 27. I lost my father 2 years later to cancer. I also experienced losing my best friend and my grandmother, all within a very short time span. Those losses, gosh, the pain, so deep. It felt like I was gonna break time and time again. But it was also in those moments that I began to truly understand real resilience and drawing from the deepest parts of me for that inner strength that I really didn't even know I had within me. This was not done as a heroic act. It was actually very quietly done, a personal, very difficult decision, one step, sometimes one breath at a time, to practice gratitude for my own time here on earth. And then years later, when I stepped into this world of entrepreneurship, I faced a different kind of challenge. Fear crept in again, not just the fear of survival, which comes with the trauma of being a child of war, but this was about the fear of not being good enough, not fitting in. That fear led me to people please, to overcommit, to undervalue myself, my time. I tried to become someone that I wasn't. I didn't know that I wasn't at the time, but I was chasing an image of success that left me exhausted. It left me burnt out, and it left me completely out of alignment with my truest, greater self. Again, I didn't know it at the time, but my body knew it. I made mistakes, plenty of them. But here's what I've learned. Mistakes do not define us. How we choose to rise from them, that does. I forgave myself for those stumbles, and I began practicing self-compassion. I stopped trying to prove my worth to others and started honoring it for myself. That shift changed everything for me. It allowed me to step fully into my purpose, to work with organizational leaders, nonprofit leaders, federal agency leaders, to help them develop more compassionate, legacy-driven, intentional, conscious-driven leaders, because that's what the world so desperately needs right now. The most powerful lessons I've learned, and the one I want to leave you with, is this. Resilience does not mean you never fall. It doesn't mean you won't be tested. And no matter how much you try to protect yourself, it doesn't mean that your heart will never break. It means you can rise with grace, forgiving yourself, forgiving others along the way, to clear your heart, to clear your mind, to clear your soul from heaviness and negative forces that keep us from designing and living our most fulfilled, treasured life. Pain does have a purpose. Trust me, it doesn't feel like it when we're in it, but it has a purpose. Mistakes are our teachers, and self-compassion is the bridge to compassion for others. That bridge that takes you from struggle to strength, to be of service. When you honor your worth and you align your values, you become unstoppable, not because you're perfect, but because you're whole. So if my story resonates with you, I invite you to join me at the Women's Thrive Summit this March. You're going to hear so many incredible, inspiring, motivating stories. Together, we can explore how to turn life's trials into triumphs, embrace and lead with passion and compassion to do real good and create real change in the world. You can follow me on social media at 𝐷𝐸. Let's connect. I welcome it, and I would love to hear your journey.
Marley, I'm gobsmacked actually. It was so wonderful to hear you speak, and your story is just incredible. I remember the first time I heard it, and it's still as impactful now. Just such resilience and bravery, and the way that you position, you know, when you were saying like mistakes don't define us. I mean, just very inspirational. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's taken years to be able to share it. So it has been definitely a journey, and it's now my joy to share it because I know that we all need each other and we all can't be out there thinking we're alone, because that's not going to help us really create this empowerment that we all seek for one another, with one another.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you've done the work and the healing and everything that it takes to be able to sit on this stage and share your story in such an impactful way. What are you most looking forward to about speaking on the Women Thrive stage?
For me, it's really about learning. I think if you own a business, or if you are pursuing your passion, it can feel lonely at times, for sure. And, you know, we kind of go through this, we play our roles in life. And it's really nice to be able to hear from others, learn from others, and not just by yourself all the time. So I'm really looking forward to learning and growing from everyone else's journey as I continue to learn and grow in my own journey.
Thanks, Marley. And where can people find you, discover yourself, discover 𝐸? Where's the best place to find you?
The best place is on our website at 𝐸𝐴Rcommunitynetwork.com. And then in terms of just learning more about our mission, my work, you can just Google me, search me, 𝐷𝐸. There's not very many of 𝐷𝐸 in the world, I don't think. And then on LinkedIn and Instagram, you can also find me there.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marley. And thank you for closing out our event today so beautifully. We really appreciate you, and we love having you in our community.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Marley. Okay, so Marley was our last speaker. What a wonderful way to end our event today. Ramonda.
Yes, that was amazing. I'm so proud of our speakers and just the beautiful messages that were shared throughout today. It's just been wonderful.
Yeah, it really has.
I'm excited. Women Thrive Summit is just around the corner. We've got just one more showcase to go. Can you believe that?
I know. I've just been looking at who we've got speaking next month, and I know it's crazy, right? How quickly the time goes.
Yeah.
This is a really exciting time as we're leading up to the event, seeing everyone joining, really experiencing the excitement of the speakers, creating those wonderful relationships that they've grown over the past year, and getting excited about sharing their story. It's great to see everyone jumping on and joining us in this movement.
Yeah, absolutely. Abigail, I just want to remind our audience today to save their spot for the Women Thrive Summit. Head over to womentthrivesummit.com, and there's a link to save your spot. The tickets are free, and you'll get to meet all of our speakers. When you register for your free ticket, choose the talks which you want to attend. You'll be reminded, but also check out our speaker profiles, because each and every one of them have a special gift for you. You can download their beautiful free gifts. You can connect with them on social media. You can start conversations. And when you join the Women Thrive Summit, you will be invited to a private community, which is free of charge, to be part of this wonderful group of women where you can collaborate, share your experiences, ask questions, and, you know, just have that support, because today we've spoke about so many incredible things that just as a reminder that we really can't do all of our own. What was some of your highlights today, Abigail?
Oh, you know what? Everyone was just magnificent, but for me, my highlight was Daisy. I just really, really loved her talk, and really bringing to the forefront how important it is to empower ourselves with our voice and to stand up for, you know, the things that we really believe in. And Molly, of course, you know, closing beautifully. Every time I hear our speakers share their story, I'm so moved, and I could just listen to them 100 times, and they tell it in a different way. There's something, you know, maybe I'm receiving it
Is
in a
it
different
me?
way.
I'm not sure. Can you hear Abigail? I can't hear her.
Can you hear me? Oh, Daisy, you can hear me. Okay, I'm just going to carry on. Maybe it's Ramonda's connection. Yeah, it's Ramonda's connection. Oh, I hope she comes on before we close. But I was just saying, is my screen still frozen? Hopefully you can still hear me and see me. But I was just saying that every time we share our stories, we impact, even if it's just one person, by sharing our stories. So we are so proud of everyone who has come on today and spoken and shared their story. Ramonda's back with us. I think we had a bit of a technical glitch there. Whenever the screen freezes, I'm like, I hope I wasn't like, you know.
I wasn't sure if it was me or you. I was like, what's going on? And at the most interesting part where you were sharing about your highlights and why you love Daisy's talk, my internet just went off.
I know. We've broken the internet. That's what it is. What was your highlights today, Ramonda?
Yeah, absolutely. I love Daisy's share, activating our voices. Just some beautiful shares and really vulnerable shares from some of the first speakers. It just reiterates the power of women coming together, having a voice, supporting each other, asking for help, healing some of our wounds, and knowing you're not alone. No matter how hard your start in life may have been, it's not the end of your story, and you can always change it. And I think by joining communities and events like this, you will be reminded very strongly that the world is still your oyster and we can do so many things.
Yeah. Well, I am really excited to meet some of our speakers next week in Miami. We are taking Women Thrive on the road. We're doing our in-person event over there. It's a very exciting week ahead.
Absolutely. So if you are close to Miami, head over to womenthrivesummit.com and check out our upcoming events. Our events calendar is always going to be there. Thanks to all of our speakers today, and just being so gracious, inspirational, and amazing, and for sharing their stories. Thanks to our team who supports us behind the scenes. They're always amazing, and I'm so, so proud of just creating such an amazing community as well as a team. Thanks to my co-host Abigail, who was amazing. Thank you for stepping in, allowing me 5 minutes of time with my baby daughter. It's so hard to detach from your baby girl when they're so young.
Especially at bedtime, right?
Bedtime. Oh my gosh, she just came out of bath, and after bath, he want to have cuddles, and it was just so priceless. That's what I'm talking about, asking for help, having an amazing community around you. So you don't have to do it all alone. And just, I feel super proud and grateful to have all of you as part of this community, part of this platform, part of this event, and also personally part of my life.
Wonderful. Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you all so much. If you enjoyed it, share it with your audience, and we'll look forward to seeing you on another showcase end of February, third Thursday of February, and our networking event first Thursday of February. We have Women Thrive book coming out, which is keep an eye out for volume 4, dropping on 4th of February. So you can pre-order your Kindle and paperback very soon. And we're going to see you again on the showcase and then at the summit in March. So stay safe, stay beautiful, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.
Bye.